Hey paisanos, it's the Super Nintendo Switch Online Controller Super Show. I just got the N64 and the Sega Genesis controllers in the mail today, so a few days after the service went on live for the expansion pack it accompanies Sega Genesis and Nintendo 64 games, which makes me ask the logical question. If they add other services to Switch Online, are they going to release controllers for those too? Would we get a TurboGrafx 16 controller? That'd be pretty nice. Hey, what about a Sega Dreamcast controller? A guy could dream, right? No pun intended. Anyway, the box for the Genesis one is the more impressive of the two. The one for Nintendo 64 looks rather ordinary and plain by comparison, but it has a surprising amount of heft to it, which you'll actually see more of once I get it outside of the box. And they both have the same instructions on the back for plugging it in to charge and pairing it with your system and all that good stuff. So let's get them out of the bags, and here you see the Nintendo 64 one still bagged up with its accompanying charge cord, and the Sega Genesis one just slides right out. And of course, it has a charge cord too, and it has a Nintendo logo on it, which makes it really strange when you're charging it to see a Nintendo cord sticking out of a Sega Genesis controller. Now it's got 3 buttons at the top, a home button, a picture button, and a mode button. And the mode button is the one you actually use in Switch Online to get access to the menu, to your save states, to load a save state, or to go back to the menu and select a different game. I'm not sure how I paired the controller here, since it says hold L and R at the same time, but some combination of the buttons at the top apparently did it for me because I am paired up, synced up, and ready to go now, whatever buttons I hit out of home, mode, and picture. The picture one's kind of weird to me because why would you even want that? There's no functionality for that. At least the home button can get you back to the top layer of your Nintendo Switch Online menus, and the mode button can get you into the Switch Online menu, or in games where appropriate, I suppose it would switch modes, but this isn't a 6-button controller, so it's not like we're switching from 3-button to 6-button. That controller was exclusive to Japan, and hopefully at some point I'll figure out a way to get a hold of one, but at $50 a pop, probably not in any rush to do that. I will settle for having the 3-button controller for now. And it works exactly like you would expect it to. The A, B, and C buttons feel good. The D-pad feels good. The start button starts and stops. It pauses, as you can hear. So it functions appropriately for Sega Genesis games and Switch Online, and or whatever else you can think to try it out with. There is a pairing button at the bottom with an indicator for which one of the 4 currently active controllers it is, with a green LED light. So that completes the package for the Sega Genesis Nintendo Switch Online controller. I don't know if I agree with the price, but it is well built. The buttons are responsive, and once it's fully charged and I can untether it from the cord, I think it's going to be really fun to play the games in Switch Online with this Sega Genesis controller. Nintendo and Sega logos together on the back here. That's mind-blowing if you grew up in the 80s and 90s to see now both of those brands on one controller. No such thing happening with the Nintendo 64 controller, though. And look at this array of buttons we have. A ZR button, a home button, left and right shoulder buttons, and it even has the space where a rumble pack would go, although obviously you can't plug a rumble pack in. It's even got the camera button at the top on the other side of the charge cord if you're really desperate to take a picture while you're playing your Nintendo 64 games. They want to make sure that you can. Yes, I know, insert your complaints about the lack of faithfulness to original Nintendo 64 games with the emulation they used. Maybe you wouldn't want to take a screenshot of that. But the controller definitely feels authentic. The buttons are all in the right places. The weight of it is very good. The C buttons are laid out correctly. And there was even a pleasant surprise on screen when I paired this one up. It shows a Nintendo 64 controller on the screen in all of the menus. To me, that was a nice touch. And I tried it out with Mario 64, which seemed like the logical place to start. And I know that button mapping has been an issue as well for people when they've tried to do this with a Pro controller. But for me, using the actual N64 controller, the button layouts seem to be just right. A and B and start were all doing what they were supposed to do. The C button was controlling the camera, zooming in, zooming out, panning left, panning right. And you use the analog stick to control the movement of Mario. And what I guess I was most pleasantly surprised about is that the analog stick is self-centering, which means it's in better shape and better functioning than any of the authentic Nintendo 64 controllers I have. In fact, I've been using a third-party one on my Nintendo 64 for a while now. I'm Mr. MegaManFan. Thanks for watching.